I am the disabled guy with the disabled life. So, this podcast is going to be about some disabled issues, a little bit about my life, but more of current events, sports, and those type of things, and things that are of interest to the disabled community. Like, let's say, uh, let's talk about something. Example: A.DA, those type of things like that. Things that affect the community is something that's important to me, and some current events where I will pick a news story that I know it will affect the disabled community, and I will tell you how I feel about it. A lot of this podcast is going to turn into how I feel about what's going on in this world, always from the perspective of a disabled individual and disabled person. Once again, what I call myself is a disabled guy. The podcast name is The Disabled Life. To start out this episode today, I'm going to talk about the A.DA and my feelings about the A.DA. The A.DA, in my opinion, has been a godsend for the disabled community. But there's things that don't make sense. What I like about the A.DA is that they made it had to be there had to be public transportation or Miami-Dade, like STS. Some places there wasn't available till the A.DA. Luckily, in the county we had it since the 70s, and that's something that was important to me. Even though that it leaves a lot to be desired, and it leaves a lot to be desired, and changes need to happen, in my opinion. But at least we have it. When the A.DA happened, they started making the buses accessible with lifts, and the taxis accessible with lift vans. That is something we need, because sometimes STS is not convenient for us to do the jobs that we need to do or go where we need to go. Like, for example, I will not take a STS to the airport to get a flight. The reason I say that is because they're late and they run you around and the bags and all that stuff. And I know that they're supposed to help you with bags and things, but the people I don't think would be too happy because they rarely have to do it. Okay, now let me talk about some things, how I feel about the A.DA, and some things that they did that I feel is not necessary to do. Okay, let me use myself as an example. I am in a wheelchair, I am dyslexic, and I walk with a walker. But can I become a police officer? No, I cannot. I can become a civilian employee if I wish, but not a sworn police officer. One of the things that the A.DA requires of them is that they allow me to sit for the exam, for the entrance exam to the academy, to the police academy. I think that should not be. Why I feel strongly about that is, okay, you have to pay for that, but that's not the issue. My issue is, why am I going to sit for an exam that I can't that I can't do the job? You understand my concept? And also, another thing I don't like is that they have to sit there and grade the exam like anybody else once you take it. But it's a waste of their time. It's a waste of your time. So what is the point of that, really? What is the point of that? The A.DA has helped a lot. I agree with you on that. But I am a realist. I am a realist. I know what I can and cannot do. I understand my limitations. There was a job at the Red Cross a volunteer job that I wanted. I signed up for it and things like that, and I couldn't do it. The job was that team member or disaster action team member. I had to go to the Red Cross and wait for a vehicle because I don't drive. Somebody to take me with them to the fire. I never did that because I found that was unreasonable. There was accommodations they could have made, but I decided no, that's unreasonable. I'm just using an example of my own accord. I'm just using an example of my own accord so that you understand how I feel. So there's things I'll do and there's things I won't do. I am a volunteer examiner and I'm an amateur radio operator for those who don't know. I am extremely able to work an exam session, either from home or in the field. So, that's what I'm saying. There is things I can do and there's things I can't do. And there's things I like to do and there's things I don't like to do. But I am not a person. And also, I am not a person that'll use A.DA when it's unreasonable to use A.DA. Let me give you an example of when I used A.DA appropriately. Okay, I went to a store, and the store is now closed, so I can mention the store. It is. The store was Kmart. I used Kmart. I went to Kmart, and the machines to pay for the products at the cashier was too high. Luckily, I had a family member with me. So my mom, my sister and mom, I don't remember who it was, helped me pay for this. Help me pay. But here's what I did. Because I went to pay on my own. And I couldn't reach the machine to swipe my card. And I'm like, so I went over to the service desk where they have a cashier. They have a limit. Of I think it was 5 items. I believe. I don't remember correctly, but that's the number that sticks in my head. 5 items. So the lady said to me, "No, you cannot do that." I'm like, "That's impossible. That's not right, because I can't pay. What about if if I'm not able to pay because my family is not with me?" So you understand what I'm saying here. So what I did, even though I paid, I went ahead and I called the store. Excuse me. Sorry. I called the store. So instead, I called the store and I said to the person on the phone, I believe you have an A.DA violation. And I quickly put the manager on the phone. So I told the manager what happened. And he said, "No, you can go pay at the service desk." I told him, "That makes sense to me, but you have to tell your employees such, because I tried to and they said I could not because I had more than 5 items." But that's our good things. Those are good things that A.DA is doing. And also A.DA allows you to have accessible restrooms at all locations. With grab bars, even though I don't use grab bars, even though I use the regular male urinal where you have the tube where the water comes down into the thing, because it's easier for me. I'm right-handed, and most of the things are on the right-hand side. So I can't use so it's difficult for me to use my left hand to work when I'm in the bathroom. So that's the story with that. So A.DA is helpful. Another thing that A.DA has done is when you go to Disney World, there's a lot that you can do as a disabled person. There are some rides that cannot be accommodated, and I understand that, and I don't have a problem with that, because that's, I'm a person. I'm disabled too, but I have common sense. Just because I can make something happen, if it's not bothering me or it doesn't affect me In a negative way, I don't bother with it because it's not necessary. It's, I don't go in there just because I don't get my way. I don't go in there and start saying ADA, ADA, ADA. I don't do that. But when something is wrong, I definitely talk about what's wrong, and I deal with it or do something about the whole problem. You know, like I say, ADA has helped, but there's things that ADA does that I don't feel is necessary. Let me continue to talk here about something. Okay, so let me say this. So, let's talk about podcasting a little bit there and some things how I feel about things. Okay, I'm going to talk briefly today about something called Spotify for Podcasters. Spotify for Podcasters is my host, is what I use. What I mean by a host is it's something that I use to put my podcast up, and that's where I host it. That's where I put my files up. Changes are happening that I am not happy with. As you've seen, music has not been in my episodes because there's a thing in June. The music will leave, and that and music and voicemails and all the things. So it's only going to be a standard host. I can do a standard host because I have a recorder and a computer. What I'm doing here now, sorry, is I'm recording into my computer. I will put it into Audacity, and I will edit it up, and then I will put it in to Spotify for podcasters as a completed episode. So, what I'm saying is the reason I'm mentioning this here is because without free podcasting platform, without a free host, I would not have a voice. I'm telling you right now, I am very not happy, even though I can do it. But there's people that I know. I've been told by some people that some people have quit podcasting all outright. I don't feel that's correct, but maybe they don't want to deal with it. They don't want to deal with it. It's something that I'm not happy with because it's I do this to give you guys a voice. Once again, thank you for listening to my episodes. I am the disabled guy with the disabled life. So, let me tell you where you can listen to me. You can listen to me on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, many others, and you can also leave comments, messages there on Apple Podcast and on Spotify and on Good Pods. Those are the places you can leave messages for me. And if I decide to put the link in, you can also leave messages on. If you are a Spotify account holder, you can also leave a message with us on that, and I'll be happy to put those in. Now, also, one thing you can do is follow me on Twitter. I'm gonna be a lot more active on Twitter, and maybe a few other social media spots. With that, thank you for listening. My episodes are going to come out Saturday and Wednesday, both 10 p.m. Either 10 Eastern or 10 Daylight Savings Time, depending on when the episodes are recorded, the time of year. Once again, thank you for listening. Let me go ahead and make an addendum again to the outro there. As I will not be after I will not be